Hello once again. How you doing? I hope your day is going great. I'm here once again to share my time with God, my devotion. If it gets very interesting, I'll want to share it with you. So far, I've been on the book of First Samuel, and I'll be discussing chapter 7 today. So Samuel, the Israelites now requested for a king. They wanted a king to rule them. And then, as the custom, Samuel was supposed to appoint one of his children. He had two sons, and but the Israelites rejected his two sons. They said that because they were of no good. Let me see. Let's read what they said. Yeah, I was like going so that I can understand the story. It says, when Samuel grew old, he appointed, I'm reading from the Bible, my Bible. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as judges for Israel. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and his name of the second was Abijah, and they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and accepted bribes and perverted justice. So the Israelites now rejected his sons, and they said that they were demanding that they wanted a king to rule them by all means. So someone now went to God and talked to God about it, and God said, go and tell them what this new king, if they really want a king, go and tell them what is going to happen if they should have this king. And this was what Samuel told them. I'll go back into the Bible and read again what Samuel said. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, this is what the king who will reign over you will do. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses. They will run in front of his chariots. Do you know what that means? That their sons will actually, while his chariot is moving with the horses, their sons will be ahead in front of the horses. So imagine you using men to be running, to be leading your horses. Isn't that crazy? They will run in front of your chariot. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and others to plow his ground and reap the harvest. That's hard labor. And still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take a tenth of your grain and of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants. Your men servants and maid servants and the best of your cattle and donkeys he will take for his own use. That's what the king is going to do. So he's actually like stripping them off of everything that they have. At the end of the day, he said that, he now said that he will take a tenth of your blah, 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 and then this is where I'm going. And you yourselves will become his slaves. So this is like they're going back to their Egypt experience. And hear what they said. After he told them all of that, but the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us by all means. We don't care what he's going to do to us. We just want a king. Give us a king to rule over us. When Samuel heard all that the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. He went back to God and told God. And the Lord answered, listen to them and give them a king. Is that what they want? Give it to them. Okay, so what's the lesson learned here? They were desperate to have a ruler over them. They were desperate to, regardless of the consequences, regardless of what they're going to experience, this king that is coming, whoever is going to be assigned, because they refused to have Samuel's children rule over Israel because of their misdemeanor, whatever they were doing. They refused, but they wanted a king desperately. And Samuel told them, this is what's going to happen to you guys. He's going to bring back the experience you guys had in Egypt. Are you ready for such a king? They said, we don't care. No, we want a king by all means. So I listed out 3 points. I wrote here in my notes. Whenever I do my devotion, I always keep in my journal, whatever I wrote, I keep, I write a summary of what I read, then I put ponder. That's what my thoughts are. And then prayer. Those are the 3 things I do with my devotion. you can follow that outline. It helps you to think about what you read in the Bible, and it helps you to also bring it into your own life. What is it that, what can you change, or how can you improve yourself after reading that? And then I say prayer. Okay, so my ponder says we only need to seek God first in whatever we do. Ask him for guidance always, and he will come through for us. Samuel is the prophet. He's a middleman between the people and God. And he already told them what is going to happen. This is what God said. This guy is coming to ruin us. And whoever, he doesn't know who the king is going to be, but God just showed him, because it's a prophet, it's a seer. God showed him that there's going to be calamity over them, and this is what's going to happen. But they didn't care. They didn't care. So when I brought it back to my own life, like how it's going to affect me, or what do I see in my life that could help me, and I said, we only need to seek God first. I only need to seek God first in whatever we do, and ask him for guidance always, because sometimes, we are desperate to ask God for something. Desperation can lead to bad consequences. They were, like, you're desperate for something and you just couldn't care less what it's going to cost you, what's going to be the consequences. I think we should always step back and think, although I'm desperate to have this thing, but let me seek God first. Let me ask him, is this the right thing for me to do? Guide me through, because we always mess up when we do things on our own if we don't put God into the picture. So I wrote down 3 points here. Number 1 is rejecting God's leadership. The Israelites demanded a king, rejecting God's direct rule over them. They rejected what God said. They didn't care less what's going to happen to them. Can you imagine the issues they had when they were in Egypt? It was horrible. They cried out to God to save them from Pharaoh. And God did, because they were actually enslaved, and it was hard labor they were going through. And to think that they said, someone was telling them that this is going to happen to you again. And they said they don't care. No, we don't care. We just need a king desperately. So number 2 point I put is worldly desires have consequences. They do have consequences. God warned them that a human king will bring burdens like taxation and forced labor. But they said no, they don't care. So what are you going through? Or are you going through anything? I'm just, whenever I do this video, I'm always praying that, it touches one person, even if it's just one person that it helped, it really makes my day. So what are the things that you're going through right now that you think that you desperately need it, and you do not care what's going to cost you? Is it going to cost you everything you have? Is it going to cost you your loved ones? Is it going to cost you also to mess up your life? What is it going to cost you because you're desperate to have that thing so badly? Please take a step back, seek God's face. As much as you want it so badly, seek God's face and let him guide you. Then the third one is God allows free will. Despite the warning, God granted their request, showing he allows choices even when they lead to hardship, because that's what he wants. And God says, okay, I'll give it to you what you want, but whatever the consequences are, it's on you. It's not on me. You can't blame him for that. So I'm here again, and this is where I'm going to wrap up, that whatever it is that you're doing, that you see that, it's in desperation, please stop, seek God for guidance to lead you through. Until next time, stay blessed and see you soon. Bye.